Again, monks, here a Tathagata appears in the world, Arahant Sammasambuddha. Here he's quoting, the Buddha is quoting this part now, is exactly as found in Sutta 51, section 12 to 19. I guess it's about a person after hearing the Dhamma, he goes forth and then he practices charana, the conduct of a monk or the practice of a monk. And then finally it comes to having thus abandoned 5 hindrances, imperfections of the mind that weaken wisdom, quite secluded from sensual pleasures, secluded from unwholesome states, he enters upon and abides in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied and sustained thought, with delight and pleasure, born of seclusion. Thus, too, monks, the exertion is fruitful, the striving is fruitful. I'll stop here for a moment. So here the Buddha says that if a person can attain the first jhana, then his exertion is fruitful, his striving is fruitful, because this is the aim of the spiritual path. This is one of the objectives of the spiritual path, to attain the first jhana. Again, monks, with the stilling of applied and sustained thought, a monk enters upon and abides in the second jhana, which has self-confidence and singleness of mind without applied and sustained thought, with delight and pleasure born of concentration. Thus too, monks, the exertion is fruitful, the striving is fruitful. This is another objective of the holy life that he achieves. Again, monks, with the fading away as well of delight, a monk abides in equanimity, mindful and fully aware, still feeling pleasure with the body, and enters upon and abides in the third jhana, on account of which noble ones or Aryans announce, he has a pleasant abiding, who has equanimity and is mindful. Thus too, monks, the exertion is fruitful, the striving is fruitful. Again, monks, with the abandoning of pleasure and pain and the previous disappearance of joy and grief, a monk enters upon and abides in the fourth jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure, and utter purity of sati and equanimity. Here it says mindfulness and equanimity. Thus too, monks, the exertion is fruitful, the striving is fruitful. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability. All these terms are the characteristics of the fourth jhana. And then he directs it to the knowledge of the recollection of past lives. He recollects his manifold past lives. There is 1 birth, 2 births, 3, 4, etc., 1,000 world cycles, etc. Thus, with the aspects and particulars, he recollects his manifold past lives. Thus too, monks, the exertion is fruitful, the striving is fruitful. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of the passing away and reappearance of beings, etc., etc. Thus, with the divine eye or heavenly eye, which is purified and surpasses the human, he sees beings passing away and reappearing, inferior and superior, fair and ugly, fortunate and unfortunate. And he understands how beings pass on according to their actions. Thus too, monks, the exertion is fruitful, the striving is fruitful. Stop here for a moment. So you see these two, recollection of past lives and the heavenly eye, being able to see beings dying and passing away, dying and passing away in different destinations. These are the two types of psychic powers. So, you see, in the Buddha's Dhamma, psychic powers are not to be shunned. Psychic powers are part of the objective of the holy life. Unlike nowadays, some vipassana monks, they try to belittle psychic powers, say, you should not try to achieve psychic power, you should not try to attach to psychic power and all these things. But in the Buddha's teachings, it's all part of the objective of the holy life. That's why the Buddha says, if you can achieve these two, the exertion is fruitful, the striving is fruitful. When his concentrated mind is thus purified, bright, unblemished, rid of imperfection, malleable, wieldy, steady, and attained to imperturbability, he directs it to the knowledge of destruction of the taints. He understands as it actually is. This is suffering. This is the origin of suffering, cessation of suffering, and the way leading to the cessation of suffering. These are taints. This is the origin of taints, cessation of taints, way leading to the cessation of taints. When he knows and sees thus, his mind is liberated from the taint of sensual desire, from the taint of being, and from the taint of ignorance. When it is liberated, there comes the knowledge, it is liberated. He understands, birth is destroyed, the holy life has been lived. What had to be done has been done. There is no more coming to any state of being. Thus too, monks, the exertion is fruitful, the striving is fruitful. So here this sutta shows how the exertion is fruitful. The exertion in the spiritual path is fruitful only when you attain these objectives. The first objective here the Buddha mentions is the first jhana, then the second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana, and then followed by the recollection of past lives, and then the divine eye or heavenly eye, and lastly the destruction of the taints or asavas. These are the very things that the Buddha attained on the path to enlightenment. Without these let me see, 1, 2, 3, 6 objectives, 7, 4 jhanas, and the 3 abhinnas, the Buddha would not have become enlightened. So these are the footsteps or the footprints of the Buddha. So if you want to talk about the bodhisattva path, how to become a Buddha, this is the footprints of the Buddha. These are the real bodhisattva, the bodhisattva path of the Buddha, the real one according to the suttas, are these 7 steps, attaining the 4 jhanas and the 3 higher knowledges, because these are exactly what the Buddha obtained to become enlightened. So it's not some silly other things that nowadays is taught in other books.